United isn't the goddamn word for it. This is bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Four Corners Podcast, right here on the Four Corners Network. I am one of your hosts, John Punn. I'm sitting alongside my best friend, my brother from another mother, the one and only producer, Kris Rex.
What up, Punn?
So, what's up? How we doing today?
You know how we're doing. We excellent and improving
Yes,
here
we
on the
are.
Four Corners Podcast. We got to put that on the shirt. Excellent and improving. Yeah. Today we definitely have some content to talk to you guys about. Mainly, we're going to be talking about the Vince McMahon documentary that aired, the 9 Lives of Vince McMahon. It aired on Vice TV. It wasn't what we hoped for, but we'll get into that later.
Yep.
We're going to start off. We're going to talk about some news that actually just broke. Mandy Rose has been released from WWE.
Yeah, it was a shock. It was, people were wondering why the title match was moved to NXT when it was set for the next Premium Live event. So, and it was released really quickly, she was released because of content she's been posting on her social media.
No, it wasn't her social media. What it was is she has pretty much her own website that's a subscription service where she sells photos and pretty risque stuff for a PG company to be affiliated with. Now, this is where people are throwing it out of proportion. They're saying, it was all right to do this back then. No, it's a different time, and it's specifically in her contract that she didn't tell them she was making money doing this way, doing this to make money or making money on the side, which apparently in contracts these days you kind of either have to let them know or you don't make money on the side, and she didn't tell them. So
and apparently
that's pretty much what the thing is, and it's pretty risky stuff for a PG company to be involved with.
That she's been making more money off of that than her WWE contract. That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if that's what it is, really, but I mean, it was her side hustle, and I get it. That's kind of the thing now with the whole OnlyFans and things. But she did it on her own. It's not through OnlyFans. It's her own website. But you have to understand that. All right.
For WWE,
little 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds
coming across this, it's the internet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. So that's kind of what the big deal is with that. And I've seen a lot on Twitter where a lot of people are talking about, this is just, pretty much because they're making it a thing against women showing their bodies, and I don't think it's that. I just think it's the fact that she hid this from them, and they just found out, and the fact that it's the content that she's putting out,
and the contract that she signed too.
Yeah,
she should not be doing anything but naked when that's in her contract.
That she can't,
and I think that's the reason why it wasn't told to the company, because she was doing something she shouldn't have been doing.
She was in breach of her contract. It's a legal issue at that point, and she was released. Where she goes from here, I don't know, but I'm sure these are going to be a rough maybe month or so for her, to process everything that's going on, and whether there's going to be a lot of questioning. I know I would. If I was in her shoes, okay, what was that the right choice to make for me? Did this one mistake just cost me my whole career, or do I feel it was a mistake? If it wasn't, and this is what I'm going to do going forward, okay, but it's gonna be tough to process. And there's already those people going out there like, let me see the links, let me see. And it's like, wow, like yo, just like when a wrestler dies, like leave the family alone, leave her alone. Like she just not only lost her job, but it's something everybody's talking about, and everybody wants to see these pictures and these videos now.
Make a lot more money now. How many more people are going to subscribe now to this website just to see those pictures and videos that she's posting?
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a benefit to her, but
or the little March,
she
or
just
the
pretty
little March.
much lost the big job, and now what's gonna happen is this is just gonna, like, think about sponsors and stuff like that. And now, say if she wants to go do something else outside of what she's doing on her website in the public eye, this is gonna kind of, and I'm not agreeing with it, but this is gonna make her kind of look bad in some corporate companies' eyes.
Yeah, but I don't think AEW will shun her. I don't think Hollywood will shun her.
No.
I think she still has avenues to go.
Oh, there's still options out there. It's just now it's like she has to understand that now not everybody's gonna want to work.
You got to think, if what she says is true from what I read, that she's making the same money off of this than she does from WWE, then she must be doing pretty damn fucking good.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right. So she's doubling her WWE money.
Now it's
porn.
not that she really. It's the fact that
not really porn, but
they were leaked. These photos were leaked. So it's not like, and this is where I feel for her. She didn't put, like, she was on a private subscription based service that, and somebody took that and put it out there for free for the world to see.
Yep. That's crazy.
And that's where I think the problem lies, is the fact that somebody, took this, and if it wasn't for this, she'd probably still have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the people who actually caused this, the people that leaked this stuff online, they're really ones to find blame for it.
Like, it'll be hard to find them.
Yeah, there's no way of really knowing, who did it. Moving on to some other news, we're going to talk about some big news. We haven't heard anything about her in months, and now we hear about Sasha Banks.
Cha-ching.
Sasha Banks apparently going to New Japan, probably one of the best and most hyped shows I've heard about in a while. Now, apparently Stardom had contacted her and offered her a deal, but they couldn't afford pretty much what she's charging. And I guess New Japan is kind of stepping up to the plate, and they're going to do limited dates. So she's not going to really be there all, there's going to be select dates, and she's on a pay-per appearance apparently. So that's how she's appearing there. Now, they may not be able to afford Sasha Banks, but I'm sure Tony Khan is definitely piquing his interest right now.
But I don't think her interest is staying in America. I think she wants to be over there. And I think she might work with them if she likes it when she does Wrestle Kingdom. I think that booking fee and all that, $250,000, whatever she was asking for, I think that's gonna stop, because she's gonna love there and she's gonna want to stay there.
Do you think she threw that price out, whatever her price is? Again,
like that. Like,
do you think she threw that out there to kind of stop people from trying to contact her for bookings?
Possibly.
Like kind of setting your price high because people aren't, so you're not getting contacted by all these indie bookers who really can't afford you.
I don't want nothing to do with wrestling right now. It could be something like that.
I mean, I'm gonna not mention names here, but I do know of somebody that does do that. He sets his price high, so it's like I kind of, so you don't. And if you hit me up and say, yeah, I'm out, I can match that. Okay, of course I'm gonna take
I'm
it.
in.
But 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna take it. So okay, whatever,
The one that wants to book me for that price, I'll do that.
Exactly, and I think maybe that's what a lot of people that leave WWE do. When you hear about, oh, they're this much money and they're this much money.
But when people go to Japan, they want to stay there for a bit. And I have a feeling that whatever she's charging them will change to keep her there consistently. I think she will love it there.
I think she's a great fit for Japan, especially with New Japan just now accepting women's wrestling and putting it on their cards and linking with Stardom. I think Sasha Banks is a nice fit for that. She's already a groundbreaker in women's professional wrestling. Already a groundbreaker. Think of what she could do in Japan, and obviously it's her dream to go there. It's one of her dreams to go there. She's and again, she's a perfect fit for that.
I
Now
feel the
we're
same
gonna
way.
talk. We're gonna talk about Wrestle Kingdom,
Right.
because Wrestle Kingdom shaping to be, like I said, this big event. I can't even really find the right word to even like describe what it's shaping to be, but it's the first time you're gonna see New Japan, AEW, WWE, and Impact talent on the card.
All in one building.
Crazy. Carl Anderson will be defending his belt, and apparently it's not just going to be once. He just defended it in Japan. He's doing that, and I'm sure there's going to be more. This is just, we were talking about this when the rumors first came and what they were going to do with them, and I had told you that backstage there were New Japan representatives, and I mean, it seems that my sources were right, and I think with Triple H in control, that, like I said, this is going to be a new era. There's going to be more accepting. You want to talk about Forbidden Door, Punn? New Japan is really opening the Forbidden Door here.
Yeah. Yep. They're the ones doing it.
And Punn, do you think we will see more of this? Like more of this cooperation?
I do. And I can't wait till some of these dream matches that we can think of actually happen. I think WWE and AEW by 2025, 26 may start to finally, do some kind of events together. I see it. As long as Vince does stay away from the business, which we'll talk about that later, but as long as he does stay away from the business, I can see Triple H and Stephanie doing it. I can't.
I mean, it would definitely be history. It would be groundbreaking, and it would break away that mold of wrestling of it's my money. I got to be the best. I got to be the best. I got to be. It's completely sheds away from what Vince McMahon did. It's going back. It's instead of I'm taking over all these territories and building this global phenomenon. Now we're taking this global phenomenon, and we're kind of breaking it down now. It's going back in time.
Yep. I would love to see it. There's so many fucking dream scenarios within all these companies.
Yeah.
Within all these companies, man. And I would love to see some crazy shit.
Well, speaking of crazy shit, Punn, William Regal, we've talked about, is on his way back to WWE.
It would be interesting if he's like number 2 in command to Triple H and Stephanie. If he's vice president of the entire company. William Regal, man, he's 40 years, 50 years in the business himself. The knowledge that man has,
I mean, it would be so fitting because how abruptly he was gone, and like just how weird his loyalty to the company, and he was released, and weird that he was released and now he's coming back like VP.
What was Vince's mindset at that time of releasing him too?
I honestly think, and this is just my own opinion, maybe because he was releasing a lot of Triple H's guys around the time.
I think, yes, because he was trying to kill NXT. Black and gold.
Yeah.
He was trying to kill it completely, build this 2.0 shit, and, he had to get people out that was Triple H's, right hand, and William Regal was one of those people.
And now Triple H is back in command, and he's getting his right hand back.
Yeah. So, yeah. And look, he brought back Tegan Knox. That was a surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't see that return coming, but out of nowhere, he brought back somebody else. So
now, yesterday, the Vince McMahon documentary, 9 Lives of Vince McMahon, aired. I watched it, and I'm sorry, I was not satisfied. They pretty much took pieces of Dark Side of the Ring and put it in, and really the only thing that was really covered that really wasn't covered before is Vince's upbringing, which I didn't really know about, and then they covered the scandal at the end, but everything else was legit. pulled from episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. And when I say directly pulled from that, I mean like legit. They just cut those scenes and those clips out and added them in to this episode.
You know, and that's interesting to me because the way they promoted it, I didn't expect it to be like that. I expected it to be, you know, a 2-hour episode of interesting happenings throughout his career. You know, to just rip off of what they already did. You know, they already did that. It's the same.
They reuse content.
I mean, why do that?
And then the 9 Lives of Vince McMahon, that title makes it seem like, yo, I would at least hope there was more than like 5 or 6 fucking things to talk about. But when you talk about like really topics it's all the same shit they covered in Dark Side of the Ring. Jimmy Snuka, Owen Hart, Chris Benoit,
The airplane from hell.
The plane ride from hell. I mean, and it was all bad stuff about Vince. Really. That's all it was bad stuff about Vince. And that when we first heard about this, we had said, all right, if you're going to show the bad and the ugly, you show the good too.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be an up and down, the 9 lives. You know, what killed him, what brought him back. What killed him, what brought him back. You know, I thought we was going to get to see, you know,
legit
the up and down of his career.
What we got from the episode is what got him back is his ability to evade the law. And that's what I got from everything. It's just he just escaped the law. And all right, granted, Vince hasn't done, he's done some bad things, some questionable things. But who hasn't? And two, all right, you're gonna do a documentary on the guy. At least show, the only thing they did was they give him credit for being a good businessman. But being that good of a businessman is pretty much what came to his mind.
And he's done more than that. And
man. And you have to say, whether you like him or not, Vince was a pioneer. And I would have liked to know more of how he did his business dealings in WWE, with WWE when it came to contracts, and how with writing and story, and how his team of Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe and like you didn't really get inside the business. It was kind of, it felt like a personal attack on Vince McMahon.
Yeah, and that's that's not what we wanted to see. We wanted to hear everything.
But let's talk about what we did learn from there. And there's some things about his childhood and his upbringing that I had never heard or heard about or seen written anywhere on the interwebs. Now he went by the name Vince
Lupton.
Lupton. Now, because his stepfather was Leo Lupton. I didn't know that. That's somebody. Whoa. When I heard that name, I literally had to rewind it because I was like, wait, that was okay. All right, now we're starting somewhere. He grew up in the trailer park. I didn't know he didn't meet his dad until he was 12 years old.
I didn't know that either. That was news to me.
So he met his dad when he was 12 years old. I didn't know he was molested and sexually assaulted by his mom and various men that came into his life.
And by teenagers.
I mean, this is stuff that I'm like, okay, this is a learning.
So he had a rough upbringing.
He had a rough
with to come out of the poverty.
So you kind of understand,
become who he is and was
his ruthlessness. You kind of understand is that he had to make it out of that life that he had to by any means necessary. So I kind of understand that. Then there was they were talking about when his stepfather died. Vince, his only wish was that he didn't get to do it because he would have loved to. And he didn't really, they really didn't speak too much on his stepfather, but just by Vince saying that, I'm sure he was very, very, very abusive.
Yeah. And if his mom was doing the sexual abuse, his stepdad had to be doing the physical abuse. And that,
because he said it wasn't from the male in the household, it was from the female that was doing the sexual abuse. And now from us knowing Law and Order SVU and watching all these crime shows, you kind of see, okay, that's the makings of someone who's now you hear about these scandals of him touching women and doing, this is what he knows. I'm not making excuses. We're just analyzing here
He
and
was
analyzing a
groomed.
human being here.
He was groomed that way.
He was groomed.
Mm-hmm.
He did, yes, he knows right from wrong, but maybe that trauma, that sticks with you your whole life.
Yeah.
It doesn't just go away because he's an adult and he's a businessman and he's rich. And listen, let me tell you, a lot of rich people have a lot of fucking problems.
Yeah.
The money doesn't take it away. The success doesn't take it away.
It just covers it for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Mask.
And Vince, I have to say, was very good at covering it because this is the first time I had ever fucking heard about this shit. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people in his inner circle knew but it didn't seem like many people knew about this.
I'm pretty sure Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, people like that know about his past. I'm sure. I'm sure he had to talk about it. You can't hold that in your whole life. And you're only going to talk to people that you wholeheartedly trust. And I think those two guys have to know a lot about his life.
And now, yes, this stuff was published in Playboy magazine, but honestly, Punn, who looks at Playboy? Who looked at Playboy for the articles, bro? You don't look at Playboy for the articles. I'm sorry.
The only thing he talked about in Playboy was the sexual.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This stuff, it was put out there publicly. But, again, you don't read Playboy for the articles. At least I didn't.
I never even knew Vince did an article in Playboy back before the Trish and all days. So that's crazy. Yep.
They talk about his father and his relationship with his father and how his father didn't want him in business. Yeah. Wanted him to be an accountant, wanted him to become a lawyer or someone that it's a secure job. And I'm sure every parent wants that. My father didn't want me to become a professional wrestler.
Also, they sent him to military school, and that didn't work.
Yeah, apparently he was the first student ever court-martialed. He was that out of control. So you see this upbringing he had, and he was a wild child. He was abused. Maybe this is how he was taking that out. You know what I mean? He was stealing cars, getting into fights. This is how he, I guess, distracted himself from what was really going on in his household. So his father wound up sending him to the military school. He was court-martialed, and he started. He met Linda at a very young age.
His mom set him up with Linda.
Introduced, his mom set it up. Said you have to come home and meet this beautiful blue-eyed girl, and she was 14. He was 16.
Well, same thing as me and my wife.
And they would get married, and since his father didn't want him in the wrestling business, he started putting on his own pretty much events. He would do Muhammad Ali, Antonio Inoki fight. He was the one that produced and broadcasted that. The Evel Knievel stunt that went wrong, and he wound up bankrupting him. $250,000, $250,000. Wound up bankrupting him.
Back in those days. Whew.
So him and his new wife, they filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And he was working as a shoe salesman, things like this, things that he really wasn't passionate about. He wasn't good at it because I seen a lot of myself, and he's not passionate about it, so he can't be interested in. Yeah, I have to be interested in what I'm doing. And I've seen it as the same thing in a lot of creative people. So his dad gave him a shot as a commentator for the WWF. And that's where he got his start in the business.
Yep. And that was a good start for him. And then he eventually bought the company from his father in '82 for just $1 million.
Well, here was the deal with that.
Yeah. And if he failed, they were going to get their money back. And
this is the whole idea behind that. Now, Vince seen the potential. Now, everybody was satisfied with how the territory's working. Vince, he wouldn't be satisfied. So he offered to buy the company from his father on what is called a balloon loan. Now, he pays a little bit for the company, and over time, the amount gets larger that he pays, like a balloon, it inflates. But if he was a failure, if he was not successful, then they could take the company back, like you said. Now, had his father known what his intentions were, his father would have never sold him the company. And that's from his own mouth. He knew he had this plan, this decisive plan to go behind everybody, and this is what he was going to do. And it was he changed the business forever from then on. And from then on, it's the story we've all heard. You know, Black Monday, he tried to get on TBS, and those fans were so used to Southern wrestling that they did not accept Vince McMahon's programming at the time. They did not watch television when he was on. So that's really when you see the war between the territories and Vince start. And as we know, Vince took over. And
we see where that became now.
Yes. And now through this document again, they did bring up Jimmy Snuka and Nancy Argentino. And pretty much saying he paid somebody off to make that disappear, to make that go away. They brought up, again, this is all covered in Dark Side of the Ring. If you want to just check those episodes out. They talked about the steroid scandal. They talked about Chris Benoit. I mean, they talked about all these things that were already fucking covered. I mean, you can see my facial expression of how excited I am to talk about this and how excited I was about this fucking documentary, this big documentary that was supposed to fucking like blow our minds.
Yeah, we were gonna make 4 or 5 episodes out of it, and no.
What did I tell you this morning? I said, yo, I could have cut this up and produced it. Like, I could have done this. But if you do want to check it out, it aired on Vice. I'm sure you can watch it on if you have a television subscription, you can go on Vice TV and use your login and watch it on there. But yeah, then they get to the scandals of everything going on, and we pretty much know that everything that went on with that. He wound up stepping down, and the only credit they really give him throughout this whole thing is how great of a businessman he was. But him being such a great businessman and a control freak and was his demise. And he thought he can get away with all this stuff, and it's pretty much everyone fucking bad mouthing him for an hour and a half because half an hour is commercials. So it's I don't know. I understand showing the bad and everything, but show the good too. I'm sure he wasn't. Nobody is completely evil. Nobody's completely good. We have the yin and the yang, and every human has the yin and the yang. And I would have liked to see a little bit more of the good stuff he's done, you know, and maybe some of his business and how he did his business. You don't hear about that. But now we're hearing Mr. McMahon wants back in. Now, Vince Russo had said something in the documentary that said, even though he's retired, I'm sure he's doing as much work for WWE as he legally can.
I'm sure he is
behind the scenes, and I could see it. I could see it, but now he wants back in. Apparently, there's talks of him returning. What do you make of this, Punn?
Oh man, I don't know. You know, first I've been thinking he's already getting out of touch. You know, with what the current fan would like to see. You know, he's still running. He didn't know who that old school mentality, old school storylines. You know, and if he comes back, he has to move out of that. He has to change that mentality. He has to change that way of thought. You know, I just feel that, you know, I don't know if I want him back. I like the Triple H Stephanie era. I like what they're doing. You know, I like the freshness, the newness of things. You know, I don't need him back on TV or, you know, writing storylines, writing television. I don't need him back for any of that personally.
Yeah. Well, the proof is in the pudding that since Vince McMahon stepped down, the ratings have increased and continue to increase. So I think bringing Vince back, and this has nothing to do with scandals or anything. I think bringing him back is just not a good idea. Like you said, he's kind of out of touch, and we've continually seen since he stepped down in July it was that he stepped down. We've continually seen that the ratings are getting better. They're doing these new things. They're bringing in people that were released. They're having all these surprises and good stories going on. Let's let that continue. Yep. You know, you want to come back and help where you can? Sure.
I got a question for you. Do you think Triple H and Stephanie, how long are they going to continue with the Saudi Arabia deal?
Until the
This was
contract's up.
all of Vince.
Until the contract's up.
This was
I'm
all
sure
of
it's a multi-year deal, so they have to come. They're obligated to do these shows. I think when that contract is up, they're done with it. Because it's always you always hear a bad story about Saudi Arabia, bro.
Yeah, and
about when they go there.
All Vince putting this together. So I was wondering how that was going to go. If Triple H would continue with it, or if he would just kill
Let's
it.
say they have a 10-year deal. After that, they're contractually obligated. Let's just say 10. All right. They're contractually obligated to do that. It's not like they can say, "Oh, we're not doing this anymore." No, or else you're gonna owe these fucking Saudi Arabians money, and I'm sure they're not people you want to fuck with. All right.
When they murder you, they'll be home free.
If you ever seen these movies, like I think it's just like you don't want to fuck with these people, man. But if they have this deal, they have to continually, and they are obligated to do this deal. I think, let's say the X amount of years are finished up, they're going to do other stuff, and they're going to look to go into other markets. I mean, I think they should go into Latin American markets more.
And I like the idea of African markets.
Yeah.
With Omos going to his country, for that, I think that's a good idea also.
Go into these international markets that really they don't really get a chance to.
That is still what wrestling is missing: a larger Black appearance, African American appearance.
Yeah.
And I feel wrestling does need that still. And that was another thing of Vince's doing, not letting African Americans shine in the business, only select few here and there, that needs to change.
There's definitely been progress, but it's not enough progress.
Not enough, exactly.
We have to, right, because it's bigger than America. You know what I mean? It's bigger than fucking America.
It's
like you said, go to Africa.
Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
How long?
Fucking 80 years, 70 years, whatever it is.
How long has Kofi Kingston been with the company? And just now they're thinking about getting into the African market.
Right. That's crazy.
They debuted Kofi Kingston as a Jamaican.
Yeah, man.
When the whole time they kind of introduced him as the first African, superstar from Ghana, West Africa. They're not even doing that now. He's just part of New Day. He's the funny guy in New Day. That was a former champion.
Yeah.
That's really how they portray him now. But I think I'd like to see them open up the market more to more cultures. They have the Saudi deal. They do Latin American tours, but I'd like to see like maybe once every couple years a pay-per-view in a different country. All right, they just did England,
not just Canada. Elsewhere, definitely.
Yeah, outside the norm. Outside the norm, bro.
Because outside of America, England and Canada is the only other real places they go to
for pay-per-view
consistently. Somewhat consistent.
I mean, they do tour, but I mean, like for a pay-per-view,
Yeah.
Because what you do when you bring a pay-per-view to another country, if you generate more jobs, you generate more money for that economy.
Tours, they're not every year, so they're not there. When they go doing the Germany, England.
Yeah, that's one.
It's but once every
what I'm saying is,
you
do a pay-per-view, you generate more money for that country's economy. And that city's economy. It happens here in America every time there's a bid for fucking WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Think about if they brought it doesn't have to be WrestleMania, but any show like they were Clash of the Castle and bring it to Africa, bring it to Colombia, bring it to this, bring it to where it's like, okay, let's not only open our market a little bit more, expose our fans to this country, and first time being in this country. And also generate jobs, generate the money for the economy. Get those fans in there now, because those are the loudest fans. A stadium of fucking thousands of fucking people. All right,
and people that
have never got to see a live event.
Exactly, people that don't get to see you live. Exactly, yeah.
They're gonna be the wildest fans.
Mm-hmm.
Why not go for that?
and the people that would spend anything on a ticket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Get tickets.
Yeah, people that would spend anything on the ticket. You gotta get those tickets. You know me, I look at those WrestleMania tickets and I had to watch it on my fucking 50, 60-inch TV right here.
Yeah, when I went, I caught a deal, bro. I caught a sweet fucking deal, you know. But, bro, they are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But think about, like, they announce a year in advance. Now those people are saving up their fucking money. There's hard-earned money for this show.
Yeah.
That you're gonna, you know, wrestling needs to be on a global scale. We always hear about, like you said, Canada, England, Mexico, Germany. Like, okay, those are becoming normal now. Let's expand. Let's expand. I think that's a great way to end this show. Thank each and every one of you for tuning in to another episode of the Four Corners Podcast on the Four Corners Network. If you want to stay updated on everything that's going on with the Four Corners Network, you want to watch all of our shows, right above Punn's head at the number 4 Corners Network. That's at 4 Corners Net. You could find Tales from the Territories, which we just actually I still have to film the last episode. You can find episodes of Tales from the Territory, previous episodes of the Four Corners Podcast, where you can hear our predictions that come true most of the time, and then we write this shit. Another shirt idea. And we've got some big news coming, going into the new year. We'll be on the Around the Ropes podcast on the Around the Ropes Network on December 20th, Tuesday, December 20th at 9 p.m. Myself and John Punn will be on for an announcement, to make a big announcement.
Make with those gentlemen.
Yep, and it's going to be good. Looking forward to the new year. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can find me on all social media platforms at Rex Wrestles. That's REX Wrestles. Punn, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me only on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just those 3 social medias at John Punn, JON HPUNN. There you go, folks. Look me up.
Once again, thanks to each and every one of you for tuning into another episode of the Four Corners Podcast and making the Four Corners Network a success. As always, be excellent to each other and keep supporting pro wrestling.